I don't know. What? Not what? I'm not gonna exercise. Love style. For 3 days. And I specifically, I'm gonna stay away from it. I'm gonna stay away from television for a month. That would be a form of siyam. Right? That makes sense? هو إمساك عن أي شيء. طيب لكن في الشرع هو الإمساك عن المفطرات بنية من طلوع الفجر الصادق إلى غروب الشمس. So we have the linguistic definition, which means what? To abstain from something, just to stay away from it. I'm not going to talk to females, خلاص, right? Unless I have to. خلاص, that would be, you're fasting. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. Huh? I don't care how cute she is. You're going to stay away from talking to her. Now? Sadaqakallah. Now, but in the Sharia, it's to abstain from those things that would break your fast from the Tulu' al-Fajr al-Sadiq, from the rising, not exactly the rising of the sun, because Fajr actually comes in before you actually see the sun coming up. So it's still dark outside when Fajr comes in, actually. That's why they say Fajr al-Sadiq, right? Until the setting of the sun. That is the definition of siyam in the Sharia. And if you were to look into the books of fiqh and so on. So fasting in the month of Ramadan, brothers and sisters, is extremely important for all of us to know and understand, because it's one of the pillars of Islam. So, Obsa, there's 5 pillars of Islam. Before you leave, can you tell us what they are? Allahu Akbar. Naam, the Shahada, wa iqam al-salat, wa ita al-zakat, wa sawmi Ramadan. And making pilgrimage to the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you're able to do so. Khalas, you're free. Jazakallah khair. Alhamdulillah. So if you look at all of these different things, these are things that you actually do that make you a Muslim. And that being the case, if they're the things that you do that make you a Muslim, that means they're extremely important. Because if that's what makes you a Muslim, identifies you as a Muslim, that means if you're missing one of those things, or you don't do those things, in essence what? Your Islam is called into question. يعني قلت هذه أركان الخمسة. هذه الأركان هذا الذي يجعلك مسلم. وواحد آخر ينظر إليك يقول هذا مسلم. لماذا؟ لأنه يصلي. شوف المسلمون يصلون هكذا. طيب فإذا خلا من حياتك أحد هذه الأركان مشكلة كبيرة. It's a big problem. لماذا؟ لأن الآن إسلامك علامة الاستفهام الآن أصبح في علامة الاستفهام. هل هذا مسلم أم لا؟ ما أدري. والله ما شفت هذا الرجل يصلي في حياتي. والله هذا الرجل غني جدا، عنده استطاعة، عنده قدرة، لكن ما حج ولا مرة في حياته. كلنا نصوم في شهر رمضان وهذا الرجل ما يصوم. هذا يجعل يعني على الإسلام هذا الشخص علامة الاستفهام. So what I said is, brothers and sisters, that it puts you in a precarious position if you were to leave out from your life practicing the 5 pillars of Islam. That's how important. When we say the pillars of Islam, meaning that the rest of your Islam stands on those things. هذا هو المعنى أركان الإسلام. يعني بقية الإسلام واقف على هذه الأركان. وإذا خلا ركن واحد خلاص أصبح ضعيف. Now your Islam is weak and ultimately could be called into question. طيب. And the evidence for this أيها الإخوة كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ورد عن عبد الله بن عمر بني الإسلام على 5. يعني الإسلام كلها بني على 5 أركان. شهادة كما قال الشيخ أوبسا قبل أن خرج, just as Obsa said before he left, to make the شهادة أن لا إله إلا الله وأن محمد رسول الله وإقام الصلاة وإيتاء الزكاة وصوم رمضان وحج البيت من استطاع إليه سبيلا. وهذا الحديث متفق عليه. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said that Islam was built on 5 things: to bear witness and testify to the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that He has no one, there's no one worthy of worship except him, and that to bear witness and to testify that Muhammad, the son of Abdullah, is his servant and messenger, to establish the 5 daily prayers, to fast the month, or to give the zakat, to fast the month of Ramadan, and to make pilgrimage, the greater pilgrimage to Mecca and the Kaaba, whoever is able to do so. And also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and now what I'm talking about is the obligation of fasting. I'm speaking about the obligation of fasting now, brothers and sisters. قال الله سبحانه وتعالى يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. وهذا في سورة البقرة. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, O you who believe, fasting has been prescribed for you the same way that it was prescribed for those people who came before you, in hopes that you may gain taqwa. In hopes, not guaranteed. Not everybody who fasts gets taqwa. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, لعل وهذا للترجي ليس الضمان لعل هذا يتمنى. We hope that that person gets taqwa. طيب. And then Allah subhanahu, and that's in ayah number 182, and then Allah says in ayah number 185, فَمَنْ شَهِدَ مِنْكُمُ الشَّهْرَ فَلْيَصُومْ. So I said, so whoever realizes that or comes to that month and they're there to witness it, فَلْيَصُومْ, then he has to fast. Naam? طيب. And so it is a grave transgression against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for someone to intentionally break their fast in the month of Ramadan, because it's one of the pillars of Islam. We have the clear, unequivocal command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran. And for somebody to disregard that cavalierly, right, in that way, it is a huge crime and a disrespect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And for that reason, someone who breaks their fast, and depending on the way that they break their fast, they may have a huge compensation that they have to pay back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we will get to that inshallah. Now, so for example, if someone was to break their fast by eating or drinking, they have to make up that day. If they did on purpose, they just have to make up that day. لكن إذا وقع في الجماع, but if someone was to have intimate relations with their spouse, the wife with her husband or the husband with his wife, if they were to do that, the way they can't just fast one day. La 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 la. هذه جريمة. This is a great crime that someone has committed. The first thing they have to do is to free a slave. But of course, we don't have slaves nowadays, so that's not applicable today. طيب. If you're not able to do that, then you have to fast 2 consecutive months. تخيل شهرين متتابعين بدون انقطاع. وإذا افطرت من أثناء هذا الشيء أو من أثناء هذه الأيام قبل أن تكمل شهرين، لابد أن تبدأ من البداية. لابد أن تبدأ من البداية. So if you're not able to free a slave, which none of us can, slavery is no longer a reality here. وَلِلَّهِ الْحَمْدِ. All praise and thanks is due to Allah for that. You have to fast for 2 months consecutively. And look at this. If you were to break your fast in the middle of that time before you finish 2 months, you have to start over with 2 months. Let's say you fasted for 50 days, and 2 months is approximately, give or take, 58 or 60 days. Tayyib, give or take, right? If it's 29, it would be 58. If it was 30, so give or take, 58 or 60. If you broke your fast in 50, you got to start from the beginning, because it has to be consecutive days. That's how serious it is to break your fast during the month of Ramadan. Now, tayyib, so now, and not only that, if you're not able to do that, if let's say you're not able to fast 2 consecutive months, maybe you're older or you have a chronic sickness or what have you, you would have to feed 60 poor people. 60 people who are in need, you would have to feed 60 of them in order to make up for that. Tayyib. So now, again, we iterate that it's a huge crime to break your fast intentionally during the month of Ramadan. So now, just like Salat has arkan, just like Hajj, there are arkan, also in fasting the month of Ramadan, there are arkan. وَصَوْمُ رَمَضَانَ لَهُ رُكْنَانِ. And in the fasting in the month of Ramadan, there are 2 pillars. And there are 2 things you gotta have in order to be considered as someone who's actually fasting in the month of Ramadan. Simply 2 things. Can anybody tell me what they are? Because it's pretty straightforward. Whoa, slow down everybody. One at a time, please. One at a time. Huh? I'm worried for you, because if we don't know what this is, how are all of you fasting? Sa'im? Say, Anta Sa'im? Fasting? Sa'im? Sa'im? Anta Sa'im? كلنا صائمون. كلنا صائمين. طيب لا تعرفون ما هو الركنان؟ ما هو الركنان في الصيام؟ سبحان الله. What are the two pillars of fasting? The two things they have to be there for you to be considered a fasting person. I'm starting to get nervous. Staying away from food and drink. يعني إمساك عن المفطرات. That's one rukn. Ya salam. Alhamdulillah. Do you have the book? Ya salam. Alhamdulillah. In the niyyah. So the first one, which precedes all good deeds. It precedes all good deeds, right? Is your intention. كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إنما الأعمال يا جماعة إنما الأعمال كلكم تعرفون. هذا في جميع الأعمال. لابد من نية صالحة خالصة لوجه الله سبحانه وتعالى. لابد من ذلك. You have to have the intention that I'm fasting for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for His face and Him alone. Bas. And the evidence for that is the statement of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that all of you know. And of course this hadith is muttafaqun alayh, meaning that it's both in Sahih al-Bukhari and in Sahih Muslim. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said that certainly deeds are by their intentions. And everyone shall, وَإِنَّمَا لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مَا نَوَىٰ, and every man or woman will have whatever they intended. And that means a few different things. Number one, that everything we do has a motive behind it. Every action has a motive behind it. And everyone will be rewarded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala according to what their intention was, their motive. Why did they do that? Because Fudayl ibn Iyad, rahimahullah, he was a tremendous ascetic in Islam and a luminary and a scholar in Islam. He said, fi sajillat, sajillatan. There are two scrolls that are rolled out every time you want to do something, and written on the scroll, limada wa kayf. Why did you do it? And was it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And number two, how did you do it? Was it according to the minhaj al-Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, ala tariqati wa hadiya nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, what is upon the guidance of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. But the first thing we have to have is the niyyah. That's the first pillar of fasting. And then number two, imsak anil mufattirat. طيب, and more specifically, فمن أمسك عن المفطرات ولكنه لم يكن ناويا بذلك الإمساك الصيام فإنه لا يكون بذلك صائما. So for example, it's become a popular, and why is it important that you have to have the intention? The reason for this, brothers and sisters, is because for today, for example, it is a popular health fad and nutrition fad. What is the full word, fad? But it's quite popular now to do what's called intermittent fasting. Where you fast sometimes, you don't eat, and sometimes you eat. So now, if I say, Wallahi, I need to lose some weight. I'm about to get married, mashallah, tabarakallah. And so I want to get ready, mashallah, tabarakallah. So I'm going to fast. But my niyyah, my intention is what? To lose weight. Even if he does it from Fajr, as-Sadiq, ila ghurub al-shams, until the setting of the sun, this person is not sa'im. Yani fi sharia, in the sharia. In Islam, Allah is not going to reward that person. So that means what? The niyyah is very important. طيب. And the other thing too, how do we know that it's specifically from what time to what time? Because the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, he said, من لم يجمع الصيام قبل الفجر فلا صيام له. رواه أحمد وأصحاب السنن. So at Ashab al-Sunan, so Imam Ahmed, that's Musnad Imam Ahmed, and Ashab al-Sunan is Abu Dawood, Tirmidhi, Nasa'i, wa Ibn Majah. Now, Abu Dawood, Tirmidhi, Nasa'i, wa Ibn Majah. So these are all different books of hadith. And all of them, they have this statement of the Prophet ﷺ where he said, whoever does not, yujmi' bima'ana ya'zim, that they have the intention, the resolve, qabla al-fajr, before fajr, to fast, fala siyamu lah, then there's no fasting for him. There's no fasting for this person. And so this hadith shows us that we have to have the intention when we're fasting in the month of Ramadan. Now, there's something I do need to point out, because in that hadith it said what? قبل الفجر, before Fajr. You have to do it. Excuse me. There are a couple of issues. Now, جمهور العلماء يقولون لا بد من كل ليلة من النية. يعني لليوم التالي. Majority of the scholars would say that you have to have the niyyah every day. So today is, what's today? Friday. So tonight before you go to sleep, they say you have to have the intention before Fajr tomorrow to fast for tomorrow. And you have to do that every day. That's what the Jamhur say, the majority of the scholars. But but there's also the statement of Imam Malik rahimahullah. He said, وإمام مالك هو إمام مالك ابن أنس إمام دار الهجرة صاحب موطأ. So Imam Malik rahimahullah, he's no lightweight. He's a tremendous scholar in Islam and left behind a huge legacy of knowledge and ibadah and zuhud. And he was known as the Imam of Darul Hijrah, meaning Medina. And he wrote the book which is called Muwatta Imam Malik, which is a collection of statements, actions, tacit approvals, the character, both physical and moral attributes of the Prophet ﷺ. He collected into a book, very famous book. His opinion about the niyyah is that يكفي نية واحدة في أول ليلة من رمضان لشهر كله والنية محلها القلب ولا يشرع التلفظ بها. So he says, and Allahu A'lam, this seems to be the opinion that is closest to what is most manageable, because sometimes you're busy. You might be so busy working all day and you were tired and you just went to sleep and you didn't think about fasting for the next day. So Imam Malik rahimahullah, he said it's enough for you to have the niyyah in the first night of Ramadan, and that one niyyah is good enough for you for the entire Ramadan. Meaning what? You don't have to every night think to myself before I go to sleep, thinking for yourself that you're going to fast the next day. And when you think about our circumstances, people being busy, some people work overnight, for example, they might forget. And so Allah knows best. This seems to be the best opinion, that you just need your niyyah once in the beginning of Ramadan, and that's good enough for the rest of the Ramadan. And he goes on to say, وَمَحَلُّهَا الْقَلْبِ. You don't have to say, أَصُومُ لِلَّهِ شَهْرُ رَمَضَانَ أَيَّامًا. You don't have to say this. You don't have to say with your mouth. The place for your niyyah is in your heart. Sometimes you'll see people, they come to pray. They say, what did they say when they come to the salah? أصلي صلاة الظهر 4 ركعات لله Subhanallah. If you're going to say all that, you might as well say in South Minneapolis, in Masjid Tawfiq, on May 10th, 2019. Akhi, Subhanallah. Who are you talking to? This is Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. كما قال الله عز وجل ونحن أقرب إليه من حبل الوريد إذ يتلقى المتلقيان عن اليمين وعن الشمال قعيد ما يلفظ من قول إلا لديه رقيب عتيد. You don't have to say anything. محلها القلب. Your niyyah is in your heart, that you want to fast the month of Ramadan, and you only need to do it once. كما قال Imam Malik رحمه الله. So طيب, and this is an easy thing. Everybody was talking about it. All of us knew it. It's not something difficult. Naam. طيب. So that's the first rukn, an-niyyah. Now we move on to the second rukn, which is imsak an al-mufattirat. And imsak an al-mufattirat, it means anything that makes you break your fast. Now, the first three that all of us know, they're mentioned in the Quran in one ayah altogether, which is also in Surah Al-Baqarah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَالْآنَ بَاشِرُوهُنَّ وَابْتَغُوا مَا كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ وَكُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا حَتَّى يَتَبَيَّنُ الْخَيْطُ الْأَبْيَضُ مِنَ الْخَيْطِ الْأَسْوَدِ مِنَ الْفَجْرِ ثُمَّ أَتِمَّ الصِّيَامَ إِلَى اللَّيْلِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, now, فَالْآنْ بَاشِرُهُنَّ. Go ahead and be with your wife. Go ahead and be with them intimately, and your spouses. وَابْتَغُوا مِنْ مَا كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ. And go ahead and enjoy whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has written for you. Go and eat and drink until the black thread has become clear from the white thread from the Fajr. And essentially, if I break that all down for you brothers and sisters, Allah is essentially saying there are three things outside of Ramadan, they're okay for you to do. But in the month of Ramadan, يُعْتَبْرُ مِنَ الْمُفَطِّرَاتِ. They are considered to be the things that break your fast, which are all mentioned in this ayah. Intimacy with your wife. And those sisters, intimacy, physical intimacy with your husband. طيب. And then also eating, of course, that breaks your fast. And drinking, that also breaks your fast. Now, so those are the three things that are mentioned. Now, the thing about whoever, when it comes to intimacy. Now, intimacy that Allah is mentioning here is in reference to actual intercourse. That you actually go all the way with your spouse. And that's why I said, bear with me. We need a level of maturity today, inshallah. But to be with your wife and to have intercourse or to have sex with them. Now, the fourth mufattirat is anything that connects to ijma', that connects to intercourse. So for example, someone who, basically pleasures themselves. If someone was to pleasure themselves, wallahu al-musta'an, nasallallahu salam al-afiyah, and they do that intentionally to the degree that they basically ejaculate, this will break their fast. This will break their fast. And this word, and it's more, and when I say pleasure yourself, many of you may not know what I mean by that. The word is commonly used as masturbation. Man or woman. If they were to do this intentionally, to the degree that they end up ejaculating, this would break their fast. Tayyib? Na'am. And then anything that would cause you, even if you didn't actually have intercourse with your spouse, man or woman, but it causes you to ejaculate, for example, foreplay, kissing, playing around, fondling, anything that would cause you to ejaculate, even though you didn't have actual full-blown intercourse, this is also going to break your fast. This would also break your fast, even though you didn't make intercourse. I hope that was clear, inshallah. And the reason for this is the Prophet ﷺ, he mentions في الحديث إلا الصوم فإنه لي يدع طعامه وشرابه وشهوته من أجلي. So this just also clarifies that those three things, fasting, intercourse, and drinking are all what break your fast. Now, as for the kissing and for fondling and foreplay, which is before intercourse, the evidence to show that this is also will break your fast. قال النبي صلى الله عليه أو أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال كان يقبل وهو صائم ويباشر وهو صائم أي تمس بشرتي وبشرته ولكنه كان أملككم لإربه رواه بخاري ومسلم. So what this means is the Prophet, peace be upon him, he used to essentially, and this is narrated by his wife, Aisha radiallahu anha. She's the one who's saying that the Prophet used to do this. He still, even when he was fasting, he would kiss us. He would give us a kiss. And not only that, we would also, we would kiss him and he was fasting. We would kiss him and he was fasting. And so, they were skin to skin. They were, a little bit physically intimate. But she said, but he used to be able to, his desire, he used to be able to control himself. He had a level of self-discipline where he wouldn't let go, so to speak. Because he could control it. She said, وَهُوَ أَمْلَكُكُمْ لِإِرْبِهِ. He was more than anybody else. He could control his own sexual desire. So when he kissed him, it didn't cause, he kissed him or was with them, that didn't cause him to break his fast. So, what that means is, if you were leaving the house and you kissed your wife goodbye, this is not going to break your fast. It's not going to break your fast. طيب. If you hugged your wife and kissed your wife, mashallah, because you're going to be working all night, so you're not going to see her and make iftar with her. So you give her a hug and a kiss, and you leave out the door. It's not going to break your fast. But if you get into some foreplay and you get excited and now you got to go take a shower, you have to go, khalas, you broke your fast. I hope that's clear, inshallah. Tayyib. So the next thing that breaks your fast. And by the way, those of you who are arriving now, and if you're waiting for iftar, more important, Salatul Maghrib and iftar, it comes in at 8:38. We have our mu'adhin. It's only 8:22. So we'll be continuing until just a minute or two before they make the adhan, just to get everybody a heads up. Now, so we go on. So now we've covered 4 mufattirat. What are they? 4 things that break your fast so far. Sheikh Amir, can you tell me one of them? Sexual intercourse. Tayyib, what's the other one? Come on, it's obvious, y'all. Everybody's fasting right now. What breaks your fast? Eating. That's 2. What else? Drinking, even if it's simply water. And then we said number 4 is anything that is connected to sexual activity. Even if you don't have full intercourse, but it causes you have to make ghusl, khalas, you broke your fast. So now we're talking about number 5, right? Muftir khamis are those things that are in place of food. So ما كان بمعنى الأكل والشرب وهو حقن الدم والإبر المغذية لأنها تغني عن الطعام والشراب، وهذا المفطر مختلف فيه بين العلماء، واحتياط للصائم اجتنابه إلا لعذر، وإذا احتاج الصائم إلى حقن الدم أو الجلوكوز فإنه يقضي هذا اليوم احتياطا حتى لو لم يتناول شيئا آخر من المفطرات، وإن كان العادة أن من احتاج لحقن دم أو إبر مغذية يكون مريضا، والمريض يباح له أن يفطر ويقضي يوما مكانه. So, to summarize all of what that sheikh just said, anything that would be nourishing to you that is in place of in place of food. For example, you go to the hospital and you don't eat food, but they give you an IV, and that IV they put into you, right, because you're dehydrated. So that nourishes you. It is in the place of food, right? And now because it replaces food, and it replaces the role of food, which is to nourish you, and that IV, maybe it has electrolytes, maybe it has whatever in it, this will break your fast. This will break your fast. So if you had to go to the hospital and they gave you food, this will break your, if they gave you an IV. Does everybody know what an IV is? The IV, it's when they have the small bag hanging, it's usually clear, and then they put it in your vein, and they basically give you nourishment and what you need for your body through this bag, and it goes into your veins. This would break your fast. Now, there's a difference of opinion among scholars, and the sheikh here, his opinion is, let's say if you are chronically sick, it's better to stay away from it. Like, for example, if you have to take a diabetic, they have to take their insulin. It's a small amount, right? And they have to take that medicine. His opinion, the sheikh's opinion is, to be careful. Even though some scholars will say, it's okay, you can still fast. His opinion is to be extra careful. If you can, stay away from it. But if you can't and you have to do it, because if you're diabetic and you need your insulin, khalas, it breaks your fast and you're forgiven anyways. But if you're trying to fast and you take that medication, and you want to fast, you should make up that day to be extra careful. هذا هو المعنى احتياطا. It means like just in case. طيب. The next thing he says, so that's number 5, is any kind of medication or anything that you take that would replenish or replace the role of food for you. So next one, التقيؤ عمدا. The sixth thing that will break your fast is essentially, and again, this is where we said we need a level of maturity, is to throw up on purpose. It's to throw up on purpose. إيش يعني هذا? What does that mean? Let's say, for example, your stomach doesn't feel good while you're fasting, okay? And it doesn't feel good. You know, sometimes when you, whatever's in here, when you throw up, sometimes you feel better because it, you know, your stomach is bothering you. Your wijuka, it's bothering you. And so when you throw up, you be like, ugh. But you say, oh, I didn't like it when I threw up, but I feel better now. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? If you've experienced that before. Now, when you're fasting in Ramadan, if you do that on purpose, you take your hand and you throw up on purpose, this will break your fast. هذا يسمى تقيؤ عمدا, to break your fast or to throw up on purpose. طيب. And this is something usually you would think, like, why would somebody do that? It's usually if you have like an upset stomach, right? And someone says, I can't take it, and they make themselves go. And this, of course, is predicated on the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, and this is in Sunan Abi Dawood wa Ibn Majah, right? And also in Musnad Imam Ahmed, the Prophet ﷺ, he said, "Man dhara'ahu al-qay, falaysa alayhi qada, wa man istaqa amdan, falyaqdi." So the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, so whoever threw up on accident, you just felt a little nauseous, and then you threw up, khalas, you don't have to do your fast again. No problem. You don't have to make it up. But the person who did it on purpose, then they have to make it up. طيب. Now, there are some other things that those are the things that break your fast. كم بقي يا شيخ؟ كم بقي الآن؟ طيب. طيب. خلاص إن شاء الله. So those are the things that break your fast. Now, there are other things that don't break your fast. There are other things that don't break your fast. So, for example, somebody getting hijama. Can anybody tell me, إيش يعني hijama? What does hijama mean? Can somebody explain more? You said cupping. Can you elaborate what that means? I don't know if you heard him. He said it's called cupping. That's one of those traditional types of medicine, right? And this was practiced during the time of the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam, that what they will do is they will take a razor. You know a razor, like when you shave your face? Allah musta'an. Please don't do that. هذا ليس من السنة. But if you do, but you know a razor, you make small incisions, small cuts, small, tiny ones. Then they will take a cup, koba, and then they light a match. And they put it where the cut is, and then they put the cup on top, and they take out the match, the little fire. And then the blood starts to come out. The blood, it comes out. Al-an? Now it's time? It says 8:38. Yes, salam. No. So no, it says 8:38, ya Jama'ah. Hey, 8:38. The salat. That's wrong? Then, so why we didn't stop? I asked. How do you know that it's a mistake?
Yesterday I'm asking.
Okay. Now, so then look at, inshallah, because it's the masjid, we will follow what the masjid and the mu'adhin says. He's my amir. Because, no. But all of them we have a different time. This one's according to Qura. This one is according to Isna. This one's according to North America. Who al amir? If he makes the adhan, khalas, I will be quiet. هو الأمير هذا شيخي خلاص. So I'm going to keep going until my sheikh, until he says يعني أذن خلاص. طيب. تؤذن الآن؟ خلاص. We will stop here and we'll go about 10 minutes after Salat